The challenges faced by persons with disabilities in the Nigerian social and economic sector is one that cannot be overemphasized. To help us discuss the issue of marginalization of persons with disability and the way forward, our guest today is Mr. Jake Epelle. Mr. Jake Epelle is a person with disability who currently serves as the CEO and founder of the Albino Foundation Africa. He is a global disability rights advocate for persons with disability and other marginalized groups. He is a disability inclusion champion, a UN albinism champion, and was designated a human rights defender by the French and German governments in December 2021 in recognition of his selfless contributions to the advancements of the rights of persons with disabilities. His organization, the Albino Foundation Africa, is currently the face of disability inclusion for the European Union in Nigeria. I am your host, Anari Jaja, and welcome back to the Mode Pod. To answer this question, comment on the video below. What is the main cause of albinism? To win a cash prize, make sure to answer the designated question for the episode. You can do this by writing the correct answer in the comment section below the episode. To ensure your answer qualifies, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, and kindly share. Don't forget to turn on your post notification for more educational videos and prizes to be won. Welcome, Mr. Jake Epelle. It is great having you here today with us on the Mode Pod. Thank you so much for being here. So the first question I'd like to ask, what does it mean to be differently abled?
Yeah, thanking you for inviting me and also your decision to treat this topic. It's very heartwarming that those that are not in the community recognizes the problem of the community of persons with disability and decided to tweaking your topic because you wanted to sort of, would I say, patronize us by trying to change the nomenclature with the phrase differently able. There's nothing wrong in recognizing our challenges and naming it what it is, except the fact that it's best to put the person before the issue. So there's nothing wrong by saying, the challenges of persons with disability, which is the official global nomenclature and phrase that describes the community of persons with disability. Making it sound like you try to differently able, it sounds politically correct, but then we don't want to be driven in the path of denial. We do have disability, no doubt, but many of us are making the most of their skills, and they are totally and absolutely sometimes dwarfs the so-called disability, So, succinctly put, disability is just a mindset. Disability is a social construct which the society has taken, and they put that pressure on us. So it's what people say it is. That's what eventually is projected, you know. I mean, I do have disability, no doubt, you know, because I do struggle with my sight, you know. Yeah, so it's a social construct, you know, and you and I must do whatever we can to dismantle that social construct. There is no disability in the mind of even the person that is adjoined to be disabled, yes. Except the fact that the society have disabled that person by their ideologies and notion, which yes. puts pressure on an individuals and get him to make him look as if he can't function in certain things, can't do certain things because of the so-called disability.
This is so profound, sir. And it's important for us to note that disability is actually a thing of the mind. That just because someone is physically challenged does not mean that they do not have ability to achieve, you know, what they're meant to achieve, so far as their cognitive function and, you know, is sharp enough to accept that they're more than their physical challenge. Very great to know. And I have taken notes that it is okay to say persons with disability as opposed to be politically correct. So the next question I'd like to ask you is this. What are the examples of, you know, the types of marginalization that people with disabilities face? Are there some examples you'd like to share with us?
Well, all sorts of. I will try and describe as much as I can remember, and as much as I can put them in context. There is overall societal discrimination, marginalization, stigma, stereotypes, you know, myth, which the society carry out on the community of persons with disability. The society, if I may use the word, inflict on us is some of these issues. Of course, you also do have even spiritual marginalization and discrimination, you know, a situation where, you know, people question certain things about the spirituality of persons with disability. Let's take, for instance, you know, you face one challenges or the other in disability as a result of maybe the sin you committed or happened to you, you understand, or God's punishment for whatever is your issue, you understand? There's actually a particular religious sect, you know, that believes that, take for instance, persons with albinism, which is my community, that it was a mistake in creation. That, let me choose the word, that they are a mistake, not me, in creation, you know, and that is one of those things that when Christ comes, he will correct, you know. I mean, such absurdity is what we go through, is what we go through from time to time, you know. So you talk about relational discrimination, okay? Discrimination that happens between either your family, okay, friends, spouses, you know, workplace, you know, what you go through as a result of what the society feels about you, you know. So there are workplace discrimination where you can't get a job because you're a person with disability, or the employers feels that there's certain things you can't do because of your disability. Even at the government level, till date, there are institutions that will not employ persons with disability. One of them was very widely popularized or publicized. Some of these interagencies coming out with clear-cut position that they cannot give job to persons with disability. Yeah, in this country and several other countries. So you have the issue of workplace discrimination. You have, of course, social discrimination, where there are certain places that they won't let you come because you have one form of disability or the other. Yeah, there are certain functions you can never, they won't give invitation to come because you're a person with disability, So I can go on and on and on and on and on and on. There are people that will refuse to give their children in marriage to a person with disability.
This is really terrible that people have to go through this, and it begs me to question that what is the cause of this mindset? What's the underlying cause of this mindset? And what is the effect of all of this marginalization on the persons with disability, so that people can understand the effects of their actions on this sector or this group of people?
There are lots of reasons for this. But chiefly, I can remember there are traditional reasons. There are people, which is the stereotypes, and myth, perpetrators of this myth, So people believe that, take for instance, persons with albinism. Some people believe it's punishment from gods. Others believe that we are even God. There's all kinds of myths. People that believe that we see better at night than we see in the day. People who believe that we shouldn't even take edible salt. There are also some people who believe that we don't have longevity.
Just wanted to ask, do you think that this is a function of lack of sensitization? Is it that there's not a lot of awareness out there of the causes of different forms of disability? What do you think?
All of that, are reasons for this, but also, philosophically, when people hold on to a myth or a lie over a period of time, first it will begin to sound like truth, and eventually it will be taken as truth, and when there is no reorientation, where people are given the right information. Like one of the things we do in the foundation, we put out frequently asked questions and core messages. We listed out 50 lies, and provided 50 truths, about those lies. Because I believe that
that's great.
When you want to debunk a myth, you increase the frequency of truth around that myth. Keep telling the truth, keep talking about the truth. Eventually, it will demystify the myth, and people will come to believe the right information. So you're right. Awareness is key, awareness across board, awareness at the traditional institution level, awareness, yes, at the national, awareness at the subnational, awareness in the media, awareness in the social media, awareness in churches and mosques, a holistic, strategic awareness has to be done. And many of us who are at the forefront of this have not even scratched the surface. So there's a lot more that needs to be done.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I also wanted to find out, right? We have a lot of activism campaign across different issues, such as patriarchy, racism, tribalism, discrimination against religion. There is a lot of activism around those subjects. But I've come to observe that the activism around discrimination against persons with disability doesn't seem to be as strong as those against, all these other issues that I've mentioned. We hear things like, Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ community and all of that. But this heavily marginalized group, is lacking in, strong movement. So why is that? Do you think that this is a function of, the demoralization of the people in this sector? Why is it that there's not a lot of activism, to defend the rights and interests of persons with disability?
There are several layers of effects of people on people that have gone this very tortuous path. There are several layers of effect. There is lack of confidence, there is low self-esteem, there is hyperactive reactions, there is traumatic disorder, post-traumatic disorder, there is sometimes lack of coordination. So there are a lot of issues and effects of discrimination. Many has gone into reclusive tendencies where they move away from people. They feel that the wall is against them and all that. But there are also others who have taken the bull by the horn. There are many of us who are beating the odds, and also some of them that had really gone down into the hole.
Yes.
And stronghold of the adverse effect of this. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So I'd like to ask you, you're a person with disability and you have, done exceptionally well against all odds. What advice would you give to other people with disability to encourage them to showcase to the world that they are more than their disabilities?
Always an advantage in every so-called disadvantage. For me, I always see opportunity in opposition. I always see opportunity in difficulties. Spiritually speaking, I say to people, I just got back from Egypt and I went and saw this beautiful country, beautiful people. And I said that the only reason why God allowed the problem in Egypt was to introduce Joseph. In today's balance, you would have said that Joseph came from the minority.
Yes.
So from the marginalized. But did you notice that he made the most of that marginalization and went from prison to palace as a result? So you have to look beyond what your challenges are. For me, when people see challenges, which is the reality. I see opportunities, and so I just kept working on not just myself, but what will augur well for the community. It's important that anyone that really wants to get involved in causes like this, you must be selfless. You must be willing to, champion the cause of others. You must be willing to, most times, make others rich, and you're still struggling. But be the voice of the voiceless. There's an injunction in the Bible, Proverbs 31, verse 7 and 8, that says, be the voice of the voiceless, defend the right of the poor, So it's important that we put ourselves last and put others first, but work hard to make sure that you don't leave the generation you met the same way you met them.
Fantastic. Absolutely, absolutely, sir. Thank you very much. You spoke on the importance of being selfless, when you're fighting this cause for people, to be, an advocate for the poor, and fight for the helpless. But a lot of people will argue that in this space of advocacy, there are people called hijackers. So these are people that want to take advantage of the cause. And it would be argued that there are a lot of lazy people that want to ride on the on the fact that they have these disabilities, and then they want to get hand-me-downs. They want to get easy favors because of their disability. And this affects people that are actually willing to do the work, So the question I have for you at this point is that how do we separate, the wheat from the shaft? How do we curb the issue of activism hijackers that actually prevents the cause from getting where it's supposed to get to?
I think I'll answer you from my personal encounter with God. When I did ask him why he allowed so many charlatans, even the so-called prophets, and it looks as though those who are that obviously are not doing the right thing, are obviously charlatans, and sometimes it appears as they are doing better because those are the ones that drives all the fancy cars and speak so eloquently and carries a lot of crowd, And this is what God asked me. He says, don't worry. He said, those fake ones are actually there to announce you the real ones. Those fake ones are actually there to announce you the real ones. You understand? So invariably, organization today are looking for tenacity, capacity, competence, integrity. These flash in the pan, these charlatans, no matter how smart they try to look and act, they are not able to sustain their game. They are not able to stay, they don't have the staying power. Yes. In no meantime, they will fizzle out. So sustainability, integrity, competence, character, the staying power are what makes you different from every other person. So what I'm doing today that you're talking about, which I think we haven't even done much, has been on for 19 going to 20 years.
Wow.
I always say that I'm afraid of everything that grows overnight because they die
Yes.
over time.
Yes.
So the difference between those who are trying to do whatever they do for their own selfish ends is time. With time, they would, you see an NGO today comes out, or an individual, even amongst the artists, musicians and all that, they will just come out and everybody's following them and all that. I guarantee you, a year, 2 years after, they die and you do no longer hear their name at all. You understand? So I don't struggle with everybody. In fact, my credo is that I want to be ahead of my own competition.
Yes.
Yeah. So your work will speak for you.
Yes.
I think I'll put it in two perspectives. Your God will speak for you. Your work will speak for you.
Fantastic. I love that. Your work will speak for you and your God will speak for you. That is fantastic. I really appreciate that. And I believe that God is also a rewarder of hard work. And so your word will speak for you and your God will speak for you. Thank God for that. To move forward, I want to ask you, what do you think that society can do and what can government do to encourage persons with disabilities?
Okay, just to collaborate with what you just said, what we call miracle is a consolidated prayer of many people, several people. Oftentimes, the pastor that saw the manifestation was just privileged that he was the one that prayed at the very moment that miracle comes to fruition. For instance, as a believer, you have no idea how much prayer that your father and your mother prayed even before you were given birth to, to see that God touches your heart and bring you. You have no idea how much prayers and fasting that your father and your mom had done, you understand, to get you out of trouble that you don't even know about. I mean, you are what you are today, an entire family. We are proud of you, but it's a collective effort that have brought you where you are today, So when people talk about miracle don't just happen. Miracle happens at the oven place, or miracles that are baked in the oven of prayer. They don't just happen. But pointedly, what can the government do? There's several things that any responsible and responsive government can do. Number one is to articulate what the issues are, or get themselves involved in a need assessment of what the issues are. I think the second thing is data gathering. Get credible data of what the issues are, for the statistics. There is a statistical project that they are undertaking, And they had reached out to me. They've reached out to other champions of disability inclusion, and they are making sure that everybody is involved, all hands on deck, to get a credible data, which is very, very, very vital. So credible data in disaggregated form. In other words, you have a data that says these are number of women, these are number of men, these are number of children. These are because the issue about persons with disability is cross-cutting. The parent of the person with disability has his own share. Brothers and relatives of persons with disability, they also share in discrimination.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's cross-cutting. So data is very, 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 very vital. Yeah. The other thing are policies. Yeah. Oftentimes, when we try to talk about the things, solutions, and the things we want to do, and they are not properly documented, they become a mere wishful thinking. So there's a need to document some of the things we are advocating for in a policy. That's why, as an organization, we pay premium on policy development and policy implementation. So the issue of policy, the issue of implementing the policy, the issue of funding a designed adaptive program, and of course the issue of monitoring and evaluation and sustainability. These are the things that any responsive government can do that will help persons with disability.
Absolutely fantastic. I also want to ask, what do you think that the corporate sector can also do to support persons with disabilities?
As a matter of fact, in Cairo, a few days ago, I was with the president of MAN, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. We had gone to them in Lagos, in their headquarters. We flew to Lagos. I led that team, and we had a meeting with them. And I made it very clear that if we must win the fight against discrimination, especially in the workplace, we must start with the private sector. And we must engage the drivers of the private sector, the likes of MAN, likes of NECA. These are drivers of the private sector. And I think also it's important to mention here that, even the issue of employment, that giving jobs, that the government is saying that they want to create jobs. You cannot, Mr. President and his team, you cannot create job with the formal sector of the economy, which is government being the big spender and everything. The number of people employed by the private sector is alarming. So it's actually the private sector that creates job. Is the private sector. Yes. So in the discrimination, but in the employability of persons with disability, because when an individual don't have a job, is very poor, he or she can do little or nothing. You can do little or nothing, So it's very important, that we pay attention to what the private sector can do. Corporations. I just came back from Cairo, and I went there to push for Afri-Exim Bank to recognize inclusion, and to factor in persons with disability in their trade blueprint. You understand? Yeah. So that's how to push these things. And we need to begin to push this thing from a very high level position, engaging these very high level individuals, to get involved in the crusade.
Fantastic. We'll go on a quick break and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back. So we're back to our final segment of the Mode Pod. It's been fantastic discussing with Mr. Jake Epelle. It's so inspiring. And then this part of the Mode Pod will be getting to know him. And as you know, it's 10 questions in 1 minute. Because Mr. Jake Epelle has such a busy schedule, we might not be able to get through all 10 questions, but we'll try. So are you ready? Okay. So the first question I'd like to ask is this. Tell us something that most people don't know about you.
I don't know. I don't know. This is a very, very tricky question. But people. Well, I think I'll talk about what people should know about me that they don't know. I'm very family conscious. I love my family and I don't joke with my family. I pay attention to details, Yeah.
Yes.
I pay attention to details. Yeah. I pay premium to quality. Whatever I want to do, excellence. Whatever I want to do, I go the extra mile.
So the next question I have for you is, what inspires you to do what you do?
What inspired me to do what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I can tell you without missing word, God. God inspired me to do what I'm doing. If not for him, I would have given up long time ago. I'm also inspired by the conditions of people that I am leading, what they go through, inspired by the little effort to create solution to bring them out of the odds that they are facing. I'm inspired by my tenacity and my focus and desire to make a change, a change in the life of people, a change in the life of our nation.
That is inspiring. So the next question I have for you is that what is the most discriminatory event that you have experienced?
There are several, but let me just remember the one that keeps coming to mind. When I was a young man that usually liked to go to party, and I went to this party, and the mother of the young woman that was throwing the party came and told me that the mother doesn't want to see me in their house. And I was kicked out of the party,
Oh, wow.
I went home. Yeah, I went home, There's been several others, but that's one that comes to mind.
That's really sad. And I'm sure they regret doing that now because you've turned out to be a fantastic man. And they're doing so many great things internationally and nationally. And we're so proud of you, sir. Okay, so my next question is this: what does perseverance mean to you?
What perseverance means to me?
Yes.
I will give you two biblical explanation. Number one is one of the fruits of the Spirit called long suffering. That's perseverance. The other one is Galatians 6:9 that says, "Do not be weary in well-doing, for whatsoever you do in due season, you will reap if you faint not." So not giving up, is what perseverance means to me. But let me also give you my working definition of patience, and it explains what perseverance is. You know, patience is not just waiting. Patience is refusing to take the alternative, you know, in the face of several options, you know.
Yes.
So perseverance means refusing to choose the alternative because you have said you're going to wait for the real deal, you know. So perseverance is wrapped up in two words: don't give up.
Yes, sir.
Or three words: don't give
up.
So, next question: what is one important habit you think every successful person should have?
The habit of any successful and every successful person is hard work. Is number one. I think the very first one is the fear of God. Secondly is hard work. You know. Thirdly is patience. Fourthly is prudence. You know. I will say the fifth one is, even when you fail, try again. Or if I want to also put in another biblical sentence, is dream again, like Joseph. You know, every successful person, needs to have these habits.
Thank you.
And so, just so that I don't take up too much of your time, I'm going to wrap two questions in one. First question is this: what is one important skill you think every successful person should have? And what comes to your mind when you think God?
I would say two very important skills that anybody and everybody should have. Number one is competence, being competent in what you do. Number two is character. You know, character. Yeah. For me, these to me are two very vital skill set for success, skill set for leadership, and all that. When people talk about God, what it means to me is relationship with your maker. Relationship. There's deep, seated, intimate relationship with God that destroys this notion of self-made. Because I think it's absurd for anybody to think that you're self-made. There's nothing like self-made. You're God-made, not self-made.
Yes.
You know. Yeah. So for me, that's God. And for men, for all of us as especially men, recognizing that you're the chief priest of your family, and the chief priest of a family brings God to the family and takes the family to God. You know, and so it's your relationship, holistic relationship with God, you know, that is void of lip service,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, my uncle. It's been so great having you here with us. Thank you. God bless you for giving us this time. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here again. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. There's so much to learn here. This for me was emotional, because it is sad to understand that we have fellow human beings like us that are going through this level of marginalization for things that are not their faults, things that is nature. They came into this world and nobody chose to have any form of disability, and yet, they face all of this oppression. And, like Mr. Jake says, resilience, it is to hold fast, stay true to your cause, and understand that disability is a thing of the mind. Once you're able to liberate yourself mentally and know that you're not limited by your disability, let your hard work speak for you, and above all, let your God speak for you. It has been such an honor hosting you today. And thank you all for walking this journey with me. All my love, ASJ. The featured product of this episode is